Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't understand for the life of me what saying the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of this committee hearing has anything to do with January 6th, has anything to do with how members voted on their constitutional authority to reject or accept the elections. Democrats in this committee raised objections in 2017 to Trump's election. Ms. Jackson Lee, Ms. Jayapal, Mr. Raskin. So were they voting to overturn a free and fair election as stated by Ms. Demings? No, they were exercising their constitutional authority that has been memorialized in our Constitution because that is their right as a member of Congress to do that. And I don't agree with it, just like you don't agree with my objection, but it's my ability as a member of Congress to do that, just like it was their ability as a member of Congress to do that. But none of this has anything to do with the Pledge of Allegiance. USMCA doesn't have anything to do with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Trump and insurrection and all of this and the impeachment that's happening in the Senate, not here next week, has nothing to do with coming into this committee meeting. And what Mr. Gates has proposed is a simple amendment to the rules to allow us jointly as Republicans and Democrats to stand up together and to pledge allegiance to our flag. And all I'm hearing is all of this other garbage that has nothing to do with the actual issue that we're debating right now, which is, why don't you want us to stand up and have the pledge before a meeting? Now, when they've actually addressed the issue and responding to the issue at hand, I've heard, well, we do that in the morning. How many of you were there this morning at the beginning of session to pledge allegiance? 2. Okay, not everybody, 2. So, no, I wasn't, which is the whole point. The whole point is for us as a committee, when we start, to have a Pledge of Allegiance jointly. And again, there was a Democrat that said, well, you know, we don't have to do it in the committees because they do it on the floor. Well, every committee's pass rules, and we are asking, Mr. Gates is asking, that we have a pledge. Now, I served in the state legislature for 8 years in Florida, and every chairman had the ability not only to have the pledge before meetings, and some of them did, but also to have a prayer. I mean, maybe I should file an amendment after this amendment to also have a prayer, and we can have this discussion again about having a pledge and a prayer just like we do on the floor in a meeting of a committee. And I don't understand what is all the impetus behind this. And the gentleman from New York, when I was interrupting because there was a back and forth here, he said, you don't want any of this. Like we're back in high school. And I'll contend with you that I will go toe-to-toe with you any day, any committee meeting on any issue in this chamber and in this committee. And I look forward to those debates. I look forward to us sitting here on opposite sides of the dais and actually debating policy. But if we want to be childish and just bring up stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're discussing between us and what is in front of us right now, it's just a complete and utter waste of the committee's time. We've been here for now, I don't know, several hours debating Trump, the riots, all of this, just simply because Republicans want to stand up and have the pledge, and you're over there snickering and talking and having comments, and that's fine. You can be disrespectful to me while I'm talking. That's fine. You can do that. I don't do that when you're talking. But you can do that, and you can continue to do that, and you can laugh and sneer and snark, but we are being serious over here because we would like to have the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of a committee meeting. And if you don't want to vote for that, because we're going to call a vote, if you don't want to vote for that, then that's fine. You can go back to your district and you can explain to them that you voted against standing up with the Republicans at the beginning of a committee meeting and saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I certainly look forward to going back to my district and explaining to them, well, we tried to have, just a simple gesture in this committee to have the Pledge of Allegiance. It's a very simple thing. I don't even understand why there's debate against this. It's the pledge to our nation, and all of this debate and debauchery and name-calling and you don't want any of this, like we're back in grade school, is ridiculous. So if you don't want to say the pledge, then you don't have to. You can vote no. And I know what the makeup is of this committee, and we're probably going to lose this motion. But I think the American people need to know that you're not willing to stand up in this committee before this committee starts and pledge allegiance to our nation's flag.